Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jay from TNJ, and welcome back to the Denver Bears franchise here in the beginning of June. And you know what that means? It's draft day season. Now, we have really shown some growth in this series, and as you can see, we have defeated and now are starting to defeat divisional opponents like the Dodgers, like the Giants, like the Diamondbacks. I mean, we are now starting to compete here in this NL West division and hopefully go for a wild card spot. I don't know if we can hold up first place the entire year. I think we are still probably a year away from really being, truly competitive around the MLB. But I think we're a really good team right now, don't get me wrong. But I do think we could be overachieving at this point, just a little bit. Not by a whole lot, but just a little bit. Now, our pitching has been doing well, but our drafting has been excellent here in the first round. Jermaine Wetzel is the only incomplete, I would say, because we don't really know what he's going to be. He's still only 20 years old. This is his third year in the minors with us, and really giving him time to grow is going to be key for him. But Mohamed Willingham is a top 10 prospect in baseball right now, top 15. He fluctuates at times. And then last year, number 2 overall, we drafted Kenny Martinez. The thing about Martinez is that we're going to have time to develop him. Even though he was a number 2 pick in the draft, he is a terrible fielder. I'll say that right now. But, he's got excellent speed, excellent base running. He can probably use his speed to get to balls and also can hit very well. At worst, he will be a platoon player, but we'll see. I mean, he's still years away because our outfield is actually pretty good as far as prospects go. Now, we do have a couple of draft picks who we picked up late in the draft who we want to go over. That's Justin Maxwell. Maxwell is dangerous. I don't know if he's going to be up this year, but if we need a spark in the rotation, it definitely could happen. He's only 20 years old. He is phenomenal. Tyler Pitzer is a guy to watch out for. He's a lefty, 70 overall. We drafted him 2 years ago, and he is a guy that's been really good for us, but he hasn't progressed at all really in his overall. Max Buzzer is a decent outfielder, see potential. I think I'm looking for depth, and especially in our outfield. I think that, we have a couple of guys that we know are going to be good, but a lot of guys are just wild cards at this point. So we're going to pick number 5 in the draft. So let's get into this draft here, our 4th draft in this series. And number 1 overall goes Amos Butcher. Now, he was my top prospect on the board. He was a blue chipper, 2025 estimated, 21 years old, and a starting pitcher. And second was Tommy Spencer. He was second on my board as well, so it went according to plan here for the first 2 picks. How about the Pirates, though? They picked number 1 for the 4th straight year. So here we go at pick number 5, and I look at the blue chip prospects and don't see many guys that I like early on, but I do see a couple of guys after that who I am very, very interested in. The first is Adrian Castilla, 20 years old, 6'5", 2027 ETA. That would be 3 years from now. He has okay speed, not really great there, not bad. I mean, it's kind of bad, but his fielding is excellent, and that's one thing that he will hold on to. He's actually a decent hitter as well. Then there's Patrick Summers, who I have been enamored with, 24 years old, though. Yes, he is older, and one of you guys pointed out that he will probably be a high B potential guy and will come in maybe at 70s, low 70s, I would think. But man, he can contribute right away. That's my thing, is that he can contribute and help out sooner rather than later. There's other guys that I fully unlocked here, like Tom Misery. He ended up being 70 overall, 70 potential, so it wasn't that 80-80 that we saw last episode. Then there's Benito Ramiro, a guy that I really like as well. The only difference between him and Summers is that, he's a righty and Summers is a lefty. He's 22 years old, so he's got a couple of years on him as well. But man, I'm going to take this risk. I know a lot of you guys are going to be like, why would you draft a 24-year-old in the first round at pick number 5? But I love it because he is going to be a guy that's going to be excellent right away. So we go with Patrick Summers. Hopefully he will be an excellent lefty for us. We have one already, and we already see how that's paying dividends with Ramel Coffer. He is excellent here with his 3rd year with the team. Now, looking at the rest of the first round, Adrian Castilla did go number 17, and then Tom Irizarry, however you say that, he goes right before them to the Royals. Now, Benito Ramiro is still on the board somehow. I have no idea how he slipped this far. I don't even want to think twice. If I'm at the NBA draft or the NFL draft, I'm running this pick to the podium right away. I mean, I cannot believe Benito Ramiro slipped to us here in this competitive balance round A. I thought he was definitely a first round. I thought we had to choose, but we end up getting both of our top prospects after the first 2 picks. That is amazing. So now we move on to round 2. Who is still here? Rafael Miranda is a very good closing pitcher. He is 80 potential, 65 overall, and he's 22 years old. I think he's going to be very, very good. ETA is 3 years from now. Adam Blankenship is a guy I'm looking for there. We have him fully scouted as well. Looking at him closely, he is a very good hitter. He's not going to have, the 90 potential. He's going to be a guy that's probably going to be, I would say, in the C potentials. That's what 70 potential really is, depending on the accuracy. And maybe even low B, we'll have to see. I don't know if it's going to be low B. It'll probably be high C. Then there's Robbie Span, a second baseman. He's okay. We don't have him fully scouted. So I want to go with the 18-year-old Adam Blankenship. That really sticks out to me that he is 18 years old, because now we have some time to develop him. He's going to come in with a high overall as well, more than likely. I can't believe in the next round that Rafael Miranda is still on the board. I am shocked that all of our guys that we scouted early on for first round and second round grades are here in the back end here in the third round and the competitive balance round B past those picks. I cannot believe it. So now we move on to round number 4, and I really don't have too many guys still scouted that are 80 potential, but there are a couple of guys I'm considering here, and we're definitely taking a chance. We don't really know. Melvin Lucero is one of those guys. He's a catcher. We definitely need catching prospects. It's a position that we have really struggled to find good prospects at. We have Marchand, but I decided to go to Russ Burdett. I said I wanted to add to the depth of this outfield. Why not take a chance on him? And he will be our next pick. I really wanted to go for outfielders that are good fielders, because remember, we just drafted Kenny Martinez number 1 overall last year, number 2 overall last year, and he is a terrible fielder. Muhammad Willingham isn't the greatest fielder. He can play outfield, but he has a decent arm actually. So if we really wanted him to play left, that could be an option down the road. But now we're kind of looking just at absolute boom. Like, it's either boom or bust from this point. We don't really have too many guys here, so we decided to go with Ben Reyes. He will be our pick. And then Melvin Lucero is still there in the 5th round, so I will go after him. And then I go back here in the final round and look at Ben Reyes. These two will be our last 2 picks. Ben Reyes is, like I said, 80 potential, a first baseman. We don't really need first baseman, so if we end up, hitting on him, there's a big chance that we could package him in a trade later on in this series. We'll have to see how good he ends up being. So that concludes our draft, and let's look at the summary here in the final ratings. It looks like Patrick Summers ends up being exactly what we wanted him to be. 74 overall, 88 potential. Love it. The walks per 9 is at 76. His hits per 9 is lower than what I thought it would be, though. It goes down to 42. So that isn't concerning, but it is kind of disappointing. But his walks per 9 is at 76. That lets me know that he's going to be a guy that's going to, be accurate on the mound, at least have some command from that lefty throwing off the mound. Then Benito Ramiro ends up being just as good, to be honest with you. 22 years old, B potential, 68 overall. His strikeouts per 9 is high at 69. His control is at 37, though. That's a little bit too low. That shows me that he's going to need some years to develop. And then looking at the rest of his ratings, his stamina is higher, and I like it. I think we've hit on our first 2 picks. Adam Blankenship ends up being the highest overall guy we've ever drafted at 75 overall. 18 years old. I cannot believe how good of a pick this is. He is C potential, but his fielding is excellent. 75 reaction, 70 arm. That is actually very, very good. 79 potential. So one good year in the minor leagues, he can be a B potential guy, and he's 18 years old. Just remember that. Then there's Rafael Miranda. I like this pick as well. I think we've hit on every single pick so far. He is a B potential 66 overall guy, 22 years old. He has no rush, 88 potential. Our next pick is 89 potential. We have 4 88 plus potential picks, and Russ Burdett could be the steal here. Look at the speed at 87. He can also hit extremely well. The vision is high. The contact is also high. He can't bunt, which I'm surprised at that based on his speed. But man, he is good. His arm is decent. His fielding is kind of bad, but his arm is pretty decent. I like that pick as well. Well, with all those good picks, we have to have some bad picks. Melvin Lucero ends up being a D potential 64 overall guy. Not really sure what his future is going to be with us. And then Ben Reyes is also pretty low. So we hit on every single pick except for our last two. What an amazing draft that was. Amos Butcher, the number 1 overall pick, ends up being 72 overall, 93 potential. Very good. And Tom Irizarry, that's how you say it, Irizarry ends up being 74 overall in C potential. He was the guy I was looking at last episode that had 80 overall, 80 potential, but I didn't have him fully scouted. He ends up being just okay. I think he will contribute for the Royals, so hopefully he does. And I'm looking forward to seeing what our draft picks can do because, man, I got to admit, I did not expect Burdett to be that good. And that was, a 4th round pick? Can't believe he is that good. He can be one of the most underrated guys in the organization. He's 70 overall right now with 88 potential. So now we want to check out our old draft picks. In season number 1, we drafted Jermaine Wetzel. I want to see what he looks like now. This is his 4th year with us. Actually, is his 3rd year with us? Yeah, 3rd year with us. We drafted him in the 1st round of season number 1. Let's see what he's got. Here he is facing New Hampshire, and right away he's getting hit hard down the left field line. That one is fielded by our outfielder, Cole Helfrich. And now that brings up number 3 hitter, Howie Dickinson. This is a ground ball to short. This one should be 2 to second to first, and it is. 2 outs here. Jermaine Wetzel at least gets a nice ground ball on that pitch. And now that brings up Jonathan Davis hitting 268, and he will walk him. So now guys on the corners here. Let's see if Wetzel can get out of this little jam. 1-2 count facing Jordan Gresham, and that will be a ground ball to short. No runs surrendered here in this first inning. After that, a little bit of a scare. So here is Jonathan Champion, who I have moved down to Double-A. I like him a lot. He won Minor Leaguer of the Year 2 seasons ago, and this pitch is hit up the middle, and it will score 1, and we will tie this game up at 1 after a solo homer in the 3rd inning by New Hampshire. So we do tie it up at 1 here. Jermaine Wetzel back on the mound here in the bottom of the 4th and facing Gresham. I don't know how you say that. Groshans? I'm not really sure. Up comes the next batter, a tapper in front of the mound. Wetzel's going to have to go to first with this one, and it is a hard throw to first, and it will be the first out of the inning. But the runner moves over to second. I guess it acts like a bunt. That's going to bring up Cullen Large to the plate here, 1 for 1. Ground ball to the second baseman, thrown on the first, and that is 2 outs. Wetzel doesn't have that big strikeout pitch. I think he's going to be a pitch-to-contact type of pitcher, so we'll have to see. Here's a deep fly ball to left field. This one's got carry, but it will stay in the yard. And now it is still 1-1 going into the middle innings as we move into the 5th inning. Here is Kenny Martinez, the number 2 overall draft pick a season ago. Here he is going to hit one to the left side. That one will just be a ground out. I'm not really sure what he's going to be defensively. He can hit the ball pretty well, especially versus left-handers. But I think he's going to be a guy that we're going to have to develop because, his fielding is very, very bad. Wetzel still on the mound here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Here giving up a hit to the right side. That one gets over the first baseman's glove. And now they have men on first and second. We still have 2 outs in this inning, so we need just 1 more. Jonathan Davis up at the plate, and he swings and misses at 1 up in the zone. Bad swing on that one, but we get him to chase. And Wetzel is fired up. So here is Kenny Martinez. He is 0 for 3 so far this game. He's only hitting .223 on the season. Hoping for a better year from him. But here he swings at 1 low, and it's just going to be a ground ball to third. Easy double play, but Kenny Martinez does beat it out. He's got 79 speed, and he will get the fielder's choice. 0 for 4 day for him. So here's Cale Helfrich at the plate here in the top of the 8th inning with a man on first base, hit and run on, and it will be a single to center field. And that one will bring up our man in the 4 spot. That's going to be Gregory Teixeira. He's been in our organization this entire series so far. He hits one to left field. This one should be deep enough to score the runner from third base. The throw is offline up the line, and it will be a sacrifice fly here as we take the 2-1 lead off of the bat of Teixeira. So now we move on to the bottom of the 9th inning. Here is Jose Ramirez into pitch here, and he has been a guy that has been in our organization the last 2 years. This is his second year here as we traded for Buster Posey for him, and here's a ground ball, and that one will end this game 2-1 here for the Hartford Yard Goats. I'm excited to see what our draft picks will do in this series. A lot of good players we have in our organization now, and I can't believe, the draft we just had. 4 88-plus overall guys, 88 potential guys, I should say. And here's what the top prospects in baseball look like. Muhammad Willingham is right there at number 10. Zach Veen is not far behind, hitting 283. I don't think I'm going to move Zach Veen up this year. I think that next year is his year. I definitely love what I'm seeing from him now, hitting a high average in AAA ball. And then there's Brian Rocchio. No, I have not forgotten about him. He is 21 in the top 50, and Justin Maxwell is 22. There's a chance by the end of this season that Justin Maxwell could be the number 1 overall prospect. He is that good. He is that dominant. Then there's Kenny Martinez at the bottom, and also Rafael Marchand is now a top 50 prospect. How about that? We have 6 top 50 prospects in baseball. I think that just shows all of the building that we've been doing, trading for prospects, drafting well, and I think we're ready here to compete going forward. I don't see any losing in sight now. We're at least going to be competing for at least a wild card spot. We're no longer going to be a bottom 10 team, in my opinion. So that's going to do it here. And as you can see, we do have a lot of tough games at the end of the month here. The Dodgers, the Braves are decent. The Miami Marlins are okay, and then the Angels are good as well. So we're going to have some tough matchups here, but we will get to the All-Star break next episode, and then we will highlight the All-Star break as well. We spent more time in this season than any other season, so it's been a lot of fun, to be honest with you. Hit subscribe, hit that like button. Hope you guys enjoy the draft. Let me know what you guys think of this draft. This was probably my best draft. I just got to say that. This was probably the best draft. Obviously, not the best player. I think Muhammad Willingham was probably the best player I've ever drafted. But I think that this will be a draft that we will remember in this series. So stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.
It's too easy. I've been there, done it, seen it. Boy, all that like Keenan. Still got crack, they fiendin'. Flow still hot like Phoenix. Shine so bright, I'm gleaming. This off top, I'm tweaking. Fresh out the rat like Neiman. And I'm still trying to fight my demons. Cause we all gotta act like Tina. That's why I gotta ride with the Nina. Outside, it's a war going on.